Week 9 of college football. Let's start with a big one in the Pac-12. Number 8 Oregon is traveling to take on number 13 Utah. This game is 2:30 on Fox. Oregon, Oregon, currently a 6.5-point road favorite. And Ted, this is going to be a physical football game.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Cannot wait.
That's the hallmark, really, of both of these programs. Oregon under Cristobal started it, and obviously Lanning coming from the SEC, that's the mindset that he's had, and I think they've done a good job with it on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. Same thing with Utah. Utah culture program, toughness, physicality. I think it's going to be a good game. I just think that the quarterback situation is going to be too much for Utah to overcome with Bo Nix. You know, I thought they got a really good play last week, but Oregon's defense is much more physical, much better on the line of scrimmage, going to make things way more difficult. If Cam Rising was there at his best, this would be a pick 'em for me, but I think Oregon's just too talented for Utah.
I have all the respect in the world for Kyle Whittingham and for Utah. I'm with you, man. I just think Oregon's a more talented football team. And I know the most talented football team doesn't always win the game, but Oregon's got experience in the right places, right? Starting with what you said about Bo Nix. And I expect them to show up to Rice Eccles to play well and to win this game. Now, I am very interested to see if the ridiculous production from the duo at running back for Utah can continue, because Jackson and Vaki have been unbelievable these last couple of weeks. So I think Oregon's defense is really solid. I was talking to Jeff Schwartz about that defense, and he said, well, the inside backers, they're not great against the run. I was like, noted. But it is, I'm with you. I love that Bryson Barnes is the son of a pig farmer, and that's where he grew up. That's awesome, man. But I just think that Bo Nix is a better player. I just expect Bo Nix to be able to handle that environment and to make the plays that they need to make to walk out of there with a win.
Yeah, and Barnes, credit him. He made some great plays. That physical run where he ran over that safety late, I don't know, maybe he was concussed. I was worried that they were both knocked out. But he stuck it out, kept playing, made some really nice throws on some of those wheel routes that Utah was getting their backs out of the backfield on. Utah can win this football game. There's no doubt in my mind. If Oregon shows up, turn the ball over a couple of times, maybe make a mistake on special teams, Utah's going to generate some offense here and there on some things. They could definitely win the football game. It would not be a shock at all if they did, but they're going to have to create some big plays outside of their offense. Oregon rather has been really good not turning the ball over. If they can continue that, I think they'll be fine. But if Utah finds a way to turn them over a couple times and create something explosive on special teams, I fully expect them to have a chance to win it at the end.
Yeah, I just think that Oregon's more explosive offensively, right? Yep. You think Bucky Irvin and Jordan James, what Troy Franklin can do when it comes to stretching the field. That guy can fly.
I think Bucky Irving is awesome. He is a really good back.
I'm with you. But I don't think this is necessarily an elimination game in the Pac-12 race, but it's got huge implications for who wins it and for who loses it. So I am very excited about this football game, and these next 4 weeks in the Pac-12,
crazy,
loaded. It's awesome. Gonna be fun, man. Look at us talking Pac-12 football.
It is. We've been eyeing this part of the season for a long time. USC's, final 4 games are because they finish a week earlier than everyone else in college football. But yeah, it's everyone's going to be playing each other. There's going to be at least one really big game each week.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next game. And you see the spread, and you're like, why would you talk about this game? Let's because Texas has some interesting storylines heading into this one. BYU traveling to take on number 7 Texas. That game will be 2:30 on ABC. Texas currently a 17.5-point favorite. Quinn Ewers is going to be out for a while with the shoulder. So all eyes are on Maalik Murphy and what he can do at the quarterback position for the Longhorns. Now, I would not say stopping the run is the strength of BYU's defense. So I expect a heavy dose of Jonathan Brooks and CJ Baxter in this one for the Longhorns. But what's Maalik Murphy going to look like? That is the story of this football game. And I think that's why a lot of fans, including myself, a lot of college football fans are going to be interested in watching this game, just seeing how he looks at the position for Sarkisian.
Yeah. Yeah. I would expect that Sark is going to run the football more, try and protect him. We haven't seen a whole lot of him. I just know he looks incredibly scary at quarterback, but he's going to try and find a way for him to minimize the damage, whatever that is. Find some easy throws for him. Find some, I think Jonathan Brooks is really coming along. He's starting to find a really nice groove. I would expect him to find some screens and stuff, easy throws to Jonathan Brooks. I do whatever they can to make the game as manageable as possible for Murphy. Now, you could still get yourself in a lot of trouble. BYU, solid football team. I would be shocked if they came in and got the win. But when you got a backup quarterback, you've got to be prepared for anything. Couple of turnovers, mismanaging things at the line of scrimmage. And if that happens, it doesn't take a whole lot. Like, I don't know how much the margin would have been here anyways, but if your quarterback makes a handful of mistakes that are bad and a defense can take advantage of, that's a huge equalizer, and you give yourself an opportunity to win the game late, so I wouldn't count BYU out at all, but the quarterback position is going to be interesting for sure.
I could not agree more. I do think Murphy, he's going to look comfortable, right? He's had the full week of practice to prepare. Sark's building the game plan around his strengths, what he does well. And remember, he is not a runner, right? There's not all of a sudden going to be a bunch of QB run game dialed up for Maalik Murphy. He's a pocket guy, from what I understand from people that cover that program. Ewers hasn't been perfect, but he did, for the most part, make pretty solid decisions in the RPO game. So there was a lot on Ewers' plate when it came to that decision making. And I wonder if Sark trusts Murphy the way that he trusts Ewers to make all those types of decisions. But I think the most interesting thing that could happen in this game is if Murphy goes 6 for 12 with 2 interceptions in the first half.
Yeah.
And then everyone there at DKR is going, are we going to see Arch? I think when you talk about creating buzz out of this football game, like, that's the number one way we're talking about this game, is if Maalik Murphy struggles, does Steve Sarkisian stick with him? Does he go to Manning? I think he sticks with them, but that would be the most interesting outcome of this football game.
There's no doubt about it. And I have no idea where Arch Manning is in his development. But I guess I was just a little bit surprised that when it happened, they went with Murphy, and I don't know, maybe Arch Manning, and that tends to be family decisions on some things with them. I wonder if they've decided that he shouldn't play this year. I don't know, but it'd be very interesting to see him out there. Little backup quarterback controversy, and you never know. I in this sport, in a conference, BYU is a dangerous enough football team that they could beat anyone if they don't show up with their best stuff. And when you don't have the quarterback you're used to having, that's played a huge percentage of the snaps for them over the last 2 years, and you've got a guy that has played a very small amount of football, things get even really quickly out there on the football field.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is all the attention's going to be on Maalik Murphy and Arch Manning. It's really about all the other guys for Texas. Everyone else has to step up. That's what being a team is. They need to make things easy on Maalik Murphy. They got to run it efficiently, put him in good situations. That Texas defense needs to start playing a little better if they want to accomplish what they want to accomplish this season. So everyone around Murphy needs to step up. And then when you look at BYU, they have been, I mean, bad doesn't even do it justice. They have been atrocious at running the football this season. And they are the worst rushing team in the Big 12 by a mile. And if the Cougars want to have a chance at all, it's going to be Keaton Slovis slinging that thing. Right. And Chase Roberts and, Isaac Rex, the tight end, those guys are going to have to go and make some special plays. And then BYU is going to have to win special teams, right? They're going to need a huge special team play to make this thing competitive. But you start looking ahead for Texas. K-State comes to town next weekend.
Loss.
It would go a long way for Steve Sarkisian and his football team if they would play well in this one and feel good about it, feel good about things when the Wildcats come to town next Saturday.
It would. Now, I personally don't believe that it will matter, but it will go a long way for them. They need to carry some confidence into that game. I feel like it took all season, but this is kind of what happens with K-State. They find their formula somehow, some way. They found it with Will Howard a year ago. They're about to find it right now with the 2-quarterback system. And I feel like K-State's going to look like we expected them to look the rest of the year. They're going to beat Texas next week.
Oh, look at you.
That's not that. I don't think it's that bold of a pick, honestly.
Let me see how Maalik Murphy looks first, and then I'll let you know how I feel about that game. How about that? I think that's fair. Any other games this weekend that you're interested? We've got number 1 Georgia versus Florida in Jacksonville. Number 20 Duke going to number 18 Louisville. I think
an interesting one.
Cincinnati's coming to Stillwater to take on Oklahoma State. Like, anything else really stand out to you?
Yeah, well, I think all of those are good. I feel like, Georgia is, either in Florida 5-2, I think, but not getting a whole lot of attention. I think Georgia, it's been weird getting their attention. I think they've been sleepwalking. And I know I've said that a bunch, but this is a rivalry game. They'll probably wake up for this one. I think they just absolutely put it on Florida. The Duke Louisville game is interesting, man. 2 really good football teams. Louisville has flown under the radar to a large degree, but that's a really solid squad. I think that's going to be a good game. And the Cincinnati Oklahoma State is interesting. A really good front 7. Are they going to be able to slow down Ollie Gordon or not?
You see that line. I think Oklahoma State's a 7-point favorite, 7.5-point favorite. Some places, I don't expect Stillwater to be the place where Cincinnati just starts playing really, really well on both sides of the ball. But it is interesting because I still don't think Oklahoma State's offensive line is very good, although they are playing much better. Getting the left tackle back, 71, was important for them. But Corleone and Briggs could get after that group a little bit and make things interesting. Can Ollie Gordon continue to produce the way that he's produced it? I think that's a fun storyline heading into the weekend.
I think it's awesome. And the better a guy plays, the more time and effort the offensive staff is going to put on creating more opportunity for him. And it's clear he's their best player. I fully expect him to he's going to have 30 plus touches in the game. And it feels like he gets better the more he touches the football. So I kind of want to see him go wild again. Is that bad?
I absolutely do too.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch. I don't know if this is a hot take or not. It's something I was thinking about earlier this week. The Heisman Trophy conversation is interesting right now. Right. I don't think Ollie Gordon's going to win the Heisman Trophy. I just want to throw that out there initially. However, you start thinking about non-quarterbacks that could end up in New York City. The conversation starts with Marvin Harrison Jr., right?
Yeah.
Maybach Marv. Not Maserati. Damn
Much
it, Gus
better.
Johnson.
Much better.
But I think the conversation clearly starts there. And then you've got the Brock Bowers conversation, right? Which now he's going to miss a lot of time. He's out. It will be interesting to see what that Georgia offense looks like without him against Florida, though. Those were the two names. When you think about running backs, Jonathan Brooks at Texas, right, with the opportunity he's got with yours being out, if he just dominates the next month, he's going to be in that conversation. And Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State. Now, I don't think this is going to happen, but I think they're going to beat Cincinnati on Saturday. If they beat OU, which once again, don't think that's going to happen in Bedlam, and he goes crazy again, it's quite possible that Ollie Gordon will have the best chance of any running back in the country to be a Heisman Trophy finalist.
Oh yeah. His last 3 weeks, he's probably gone 600 yards rushing in the last 3 games. You know, if you combine them, he's on an incredible roll and gaining steam as they go. So be fun to watch. He looks like a beast out there. It's awesome. Very cool to watch.
All right, let's